This gentlelady from Alaska.
Thank you, Madam President. I follow my friend from California, and I agree wholeheartedly with her that the United States of America cannot default on its debts and obligations. And I would like to think that every 100 of us in this body would concur and agree that we must, using every tool that we have at our disposal, using all of our relationships and what we have built as members here in this body and in the House of Representatives, that we use our best efforts to ensure that we do not default as a nation, but that we go further. That we go further and we offer the people of this country a solution to the problems that have led us to the point that we are today. We have heard a great deal over the course of these past few days about the Boehner Plan and whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and now the Reid Plan and whether it is good, bad, or indifferent. And we assumably know what the Republicans want and what the Democrats want. But, Madam President, what do the people of this country want right now? I don't know what all of the people of America want, but I can give you some ideas about what I'm hearing from the people of Alaska and what they're concerned about and what they want from the United States Senate, from the U.S. House of Representatives, and from the President of this country. What they want is they want us to fix it. Ah, that it should be so easy. Just fix it. But they expect us to do just that. They expect us to fix this problem. That's why they have entrusted us with their confidence by allowing us the privilege to come and represent them in this body to help resolve these issues. But they don't expect that I, as a Republican, am going to resolve it with just Republicans. They expect that we, as members of the Senate, will resolve this, Republicans and Democrats alike. They believe that we will achieve a compromise built on the good ideas that come from the Republicans and the good ideas that come from the Democrats. And we come together to solve the problems that affect the people in the great state of Maryland and the people in the great state of Alaska and all the places in between. So in our effort to fix us, they expect us to compromise. Compromise should not be a negative or a nasty term. It should be what we all work to achieve jointly. I would suggest that the other thing that the people are looking for is honesty. They're listening to this debate. We have received phone calls in my office all day today. We've been receiving them all week. And I think so many of us have picked up the phones ourselves to hear what people are saying when they are calling in. And they're saying, wait a minute, you guys are throwing numbers around and you know, first of all, Speaker Boehner puts out a plan and, well, it doesn't achieve the 1-to-1 ratio that he thought, so he pulls it back, and now we got another set. And now Senator Reid has his proposal on the floor, but people are talking about this $1 trillion that is going to go for the war effort in Afghanistan and Iraq that we know is not really real, and that these are phantom numbers. And they're saying, who are we to believe? Why are you not honest with us about the proposals that are out there? Does it cut what you expect that it will cut? If, in fact, we're going to be focused on entitlements, Social Security, if we're going to be talking about tax revenues and how we might deal with tax reform, can you not be honest with us, the American people, your constituents, the people that you represent? They want a level of honesty in this discourse, and we owe that to them. The other thing that the people are looking for is certainty. There were some of my colleagues who spoke earlier in the day, and they were speaking from their perspective of small businesses and how, as a small businessman, or a large business person for that matter, how it's imperative that in order for you to make those business judgment decisions in terms of whether or not you're going to expand, whether you're going to bring on additional employees, you need to have a level of certainty in terms of what's going to go on, what's going to happen with tax policy, what is the future of the economy going to be, what is the jobs picture like. And it's not like we all have a crystal shiny ball out there that we can predict with great precision. We don't. But what we ought not be doing is to inject greater uncertainty. And that's what is happening right now. All throughout this summer, we have kind of strung people along. We all knew that August 2nd was coming. We all knew that the revenues coming in and the outlays going out were not going to be measuring up, and we were going to be dealing with the potential for a default. We were going to be dealing with the potential for a downgrade in our credit rating. This is no surprise to anybody. That's where our crystal ball actually is pretty transparent. And yet, we're not able to pull it together. We managed to take a recess last week, even though we were all promised that we were going to be here working round the clock because we had important business to do. I was here with a colleague on Friday morning after the vote, looked around, realized I was perhaps the last senator left here in Washington, D.C. I got on a plane at 2:30 that afternoon to go to Alaska, for crying out loud. You know, we should have been here last weekend doing this instead of mere hours before we are up against our default deadline. And so what does this do to the certainty or the uncertainty in the economic climate, to the investment climate? I hesitate to be one that would suggest that we need to be making market decisions because we can't figure out what's going on here. But I can tell you, because I'm hearing it in the halls, people are saying, well, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at my investment fund, my retirement fund, and I'm moving things. That's the kind of confidence they have in our ability to figure it out here. We're seeing it translate in the numbers. We saw that at the end of the week with the markets. We know that tomorrow evening, when the Asian markets open, everybody in the world, this is not just the people here in Washington, D.C., but everybody in the world from the financial community is looking to see whether or not we as a Congress have figured it out, if we have fixed it. And if we don't, that continued uncertainty just continues this spiral. We can do a lot here in the United States Senate. We can do a lot in the Congress. We can pass bills and the president can sign them into law. But one of the things that we cannot really legislate is we can't tell the markets shape up. We can't tell the markets pull it back in, everything's going to be okay. They're picking up on signals, and the signals right now are a level of uncertainty that is really rattling. The other thing, Madam President, that I think the people of this country are hoping for, are asking for, is a level of civility and respect within this body, to our president, to those in the other body. We all come from different persuasions. Alaska is different than Maryland. My politics are different than your politics, Madam President, but I have great respect for you. And we can argue and we can disagree, but we don't need to poke fingers in one another's eyes to get our point across. And I think what the people have seen as we have engaged in this debate is something that does not do justice to the integrity of this institution. We need to get back to that point where we can engage in good debate and disagree heartily and make our arguments without being disrespectful of one another and the perspectives that we as individuals representing our constituencies and our states bring to the table. So the hour is late. We'll have a vote at 1 o'clock in the morning. How dignified. What body comes together at the darkest hour to cast a vote. Last evening, I had my brother and sister-in-law who were in town. They were passing through very quickly, and they were actually able to be here and watch for about an hour and a half while we were engaged in a vote on the floor. And my brother and sister-in-law are pretty educated people. They follow the news, they follow the politics. Fascinated by what was going on in this body and really trying to understand what it was that was going on. And I was trying to convey to them. And I realized if it's this difficult for me as a member of this body to explain to somebody that's really pretty plugged into what's going on, what is happening here, imagine the confusion of the person who just occasionally tunes in to C-SPAN, who reads the news or watches the evening news, but really isn't following the day-to-day. What we have managed to do, Madam President, is on a bipartisan basis confuse the American public, anger them, frustrate them, and cause them to be fearful about the future of our country. That's not leadership. We have an opportunity in these next very short days ahead to regain some of this. We have some ideas that are out there, as the senator from California has mentioned, and many others have mentioned. There are a great number of talks that are going on. There are talks at the leadership level. There are talks from those of us that are not part of leadership. That's important. But we need to recognize that it's absolutely critical for the future of our country, not the future of our political well-being, but the future of our country, that we be coming together to resolve the issues, not necessarily just to broker a deal, but to find a solution. Find a solution that puts the interest of our country above our own political interests. That's where we need to be, Madam President. And I am an optimist. I'm a person that has the glass always half full, and I remain committed to working with all those members who, of goodwill, will stand together to work through these difficult details. It's not easy, but they never promised us that it was going to be. With that, Madam President, I yield the floor.